Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to World Unity Week, right here on UNIFY Spirituality Gone Wild. I am WG, tuning in from Huntington Beach with the amazing Miranda Clendening. I never say it right, ever. Clendening. But for right now, I can't anyway. Good morning, beautiful UNIFY. Afternoon.
And World Unity Week. Yes, hello everyone. Welcome. We are having a crazy, weird, interesting day. Debbie just went to the dentist, so half of her mouth is numb. So we're both giggle boxing. We also had 6 or 7 amazing women from the regenerative space to be on this show today, and every single one of them except the 2 of us has had to cancel, and we're not sure where Rachel is. So we will probably do a shorter presentation today, and this was just to talk some about what is going on in the regenerative space. And we have another show that's coming out this summer called Regeneration Renaissance, and some of the women from the Women Rising show on UNIFY will be putting that on, as well as some others in our space that we work in. Fernanda Ibarra from Holochain and the Metacurrency Project and Commons Engine was going to be here with us, but she'll be with us for the upcoming show in the future, and is really excited to be Sherry Herndon. She's a whole systems wizardress that has a huge network. She works in media broadcasting, but she also is helping launch some of the DAOs and new governance structures on the planet, and just knows everyone in the regenerative space. If I need to know or get a hold of anyone, I just call Sherry. So having her with us during that journey so that she can help share what she knows in each of the different sectors that we'll be presenting about. Do you want to talk about your guest that was going to be here? Because we'll get her on the picture as well.
I do. Fran Faraz, she was actually my professor in college for humanities studies, for peace studies. It was amazing. And she's introduced me to so many avenues of regenerative resources and things like that. She does work all over the world. She just got back from Germany and she has COVID. So let's all send her some big energy, but she'll definitely be on the new show that's launching. And you know, what's cool about this is that for someone like me, who's from Southern California, who lives in Huntington Beach, what is it that we can do to make a difference and make a change here? What I'm also excited about are the ways that we can start to do this right within our own home, no matter where we live. And I think I kind of really already said that, but anyway.
But no, Debbie and I really are living that. Yeah, this week we had an exciting exploration of how to grow microgreens on a large scale for our community. And we're looking at doing that at her property and my property, and doing that together. And we're just learning, which is what this space is all about. That's why we call it the Regenerative Renaissance, because everyone can learn, everyone can join. And it's super fun. And there's so many tips and tools that are coming out. Teresa Collins is the other guest that we were going to have on here. She runs Islands of Coherence, the Global Coherence Pulses, which is actually what she's doing right now inside of World Unity Week. She also is such a badass woman that knows everyone on the planet that's ever been making change. I mean, she's been teaching and working with Barbara Marx Hubbard since the 70s. Some of the things that I grew up learning about from Barbara Marx Hubbard, Teresa Collins was right there back then when they were teaching about the whole systems wheel of co-creation, which we still use and follow as a tool when we're engaging an entire community. But she'll be with us in the future as soon as we get done with so much World Unity Week craziness and overlapping of everybody's schedules and stuff.
Well, what I'd love to know from the audience right now, I would like to know your favorite ways to make a difference on the planet right when you're at home. What do you like to do? Is it something simple like recycling? Are you growing microgreens? Or what is it that you're doing? And what would you like to know more about? because Miranda herself is an expert in this field. I'd like to say that she's one of the top leaders in this area that I've never known. And if you've read the description of this, you can see that because she's written that. And Miranda, that's one of the things I love about you, because you're teaching me so much. You've traveled all over the world and in so many different arenas in your life. And here you are in Crestone and making a difference with community, doing perma-peace festivals, and now looking at a whole new way to be part of the food culture for the town that you live in, and teaching me, food forest is not something I ever thought about before. But what's your favorite part? While the audience tells us their favorite thing, what's your favorite part about what it is that you are learning, doing, and implementing?
Yeah. Well, a bit of my background. I originally was a nurse. I still am a nurse, but don't work in that as much now. But I became a holistic nurse, and really we do holistic assessments on people, and we look at what is going well and what's not going well. And it was frightening, the whole systems assessments, especially of kids, inner city kids and families, and the elderly, and just looking at how often doctors are giving a pill to or putting a Band-Aid on problems that are system-wide. We have to change our nutrition, we have to change our entire health, and we can't do that without a village to do that with. So I started really looking and researching, where is this happening that people can live healthier lives and have a village around them? And I have lived in 5 different intentional communities, learning from what they do in growing their own food and providing their own healthcare, providing a network of family, community support, whether that's your, blood and biological family or your family that you gained by living in a community. And started doing whole systems assessments there and setting up healthcare systems within intentional communities, reaching out to other larger communities. And even though we were seeing frightening results in inner city kids and then elderly across the board, so much in whole systems assessments, them saying that 80 to 90% of their needs are actually not being met in the ways that they want them to be. When doing these same assessments inside of intentional communities, it's completely the opposite. Every single person inside the community, whether they're an adult, a kid, an elder, family, they are all reporting about 90% of their needs are being met all of the time. And anything that comes up, their community helps them figure it out. They're there if they get sick. They're there growing the food, preparing food that's way healthier. All these different things that contribute to having a healthy lifestyle and actually having the world that we want. So now it's been a lot more of my passion to try to see the rest of the world have these tools and be able to create the world that they want. And you don't have to live in an intentional community and go through that whole process, but how do we create that just in the communities and in our households that we live in? I work with UNIFY. I work with David Gershon and Empowerment Institute, which has Peace on Earth zones, which is helping create entirely new communities and cities of regenerative change. But there are a lot of tools out there, and we're trying to make ways for people to find and understand this world easier. That's why we're launching this show, and then a series of courses and podcasts throughout the next year or so to introduce people to all these different things within the regenerative space.
I'm super excited about it too. One of the things that I personally want to know more about is how that we conserve our water. From one of the things I've been looking into, Miranda, is what does what does this artesian well mean on the property, and how do we best conserve the water? And I want to talk about water. How are we conserving the water? Give us some tips and tools out there. If you have property, how could I start conserving water now? What could I do?
Yeah, there are lots of tips and tools for that. Changing your shower head out to be a low water flow shower head is one thing that you should be doing, that everybody should be doing. And then obviously limiting your time that you're in the shower and being conscious of that. My some of my kids used to take 30-minute long showers just because they love to be in the shower, and that's like their meditation. But we were doing the Cool Block program, which teaches about reducing your carbon footprint and being more conscious about the world and what we do. And the kids challenge themselves through that to reduce their shower time to 5 minutes instead of 30 minutes and not waste so much water. But it's just becoming more conscious. A lot of these things are just literally challenging yourself, do what's right for the planet and, for the world, instead of just what we feel like doing or what might be a natural pattern that you grew up with. That it's fine to use unlimited amounts of electricity, or it's fine to use unlimited amounts of water and just flush them down the drain. We have to change our mindset. We're hurting our planet by being over consumers and doing these kinds of things. So my kids and I have we've chosen to pick a new path where we're off the grid, where we only have a limited amount of electricity, and we have to learn to turn some things on and other things off, and not be on the TV all the time, and be outside a lot more, and growing our own food. And before, I was speaking about a lot of this kind of stuff, but I couldn't live it yet. It's taken years to move to a house where they let us be off grid, and where we have solar, and saving up the money to be on solar, and all these kind of things. So it's a challenge that I challenge everyone to go on with you and your family, because it's fun. It helps you feel better. It helps you get in connection with Earth when you're growing your own food, and when, just as we were talking about, growing your own microgreens. As I research about that, there's a lot of people that feed their chickens, which we have chickens, but they feed their family, and then they feed their community, growing these huge trays of microgreens, which is so cheap. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, Debbie and I just ordered, what was it? One bag of 5,000 seeds and another bag of 15,000 seeds.
Something like that, yeah.
$20 on Amazon. And then we got all of the trays and these things they call growing papers, and just all the supplies that you need for it. It was about $100 to grow a lot.
It was actually 111.
Yeah, 111. Oh yeah, exactly.
It was totally, I know. So we're super excited about this, because you're going to look at all the benefits. We have health benefits. We have the chickens eating. They love microgreens. Chickens love microgreens. Not that I know much about chickens, but I can tell you, I was watching TikTok and I was learning. Anybody else learn from TikTok?
Learning too, yeah.
But learning it, I'm like, wow, these chickens are so happy. Can you imagine the eggs coming from being fed microgreens? So all the way around, to me, this is a really extraordinary time that we're alive, because we get to choose to do it differently.
Yeah, I was watching a TikTok too. I mean, TikTok has been impressively I've been surprised at how much quality information people are putting on there all the time. I mean, there was a guy the other day that was saying he left his corporate job in Chicago or something, and got a little plot of land that he was able to find not that far from family, where he wanted to be closer to. And he's making 6 figures with just his little farm, just by producing eggs and microgreens. And he feeds the microgreen trays that don't come out perfect to his chickens every day, and then selling their eggs, selling chickens, selling chicks, and then growing the microgreens, selling those to farmers markets, to the shops around him, has an online network that he sells to now. And he was able to build all of that up in 8 months, I think he said. I mean, he had his own capital. He had to put into getting things going at first, but then 6-figure income in 8 months. And I didn't even know this industry was booming that much. So I'm enjoying learning about it. But it's been like that with every area of the regenerative space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, happy chickens, happy life.
Yeah. It's so cute too when you're raising your own chickens and goats and stuff.
They are so cute. Well, right now you have a Bambi.
Mm-hmm.
How's Bambi?
Not super great. Bambi has to go to a rescue because Bambi hurt his leg. We were talking about a little baby deer that got stuck in our neighbor's fence. Well, the mother jumped into the fence and had the baby in the fence, and the baby couldn't jump back over and hurt its leg in the process of trying to get back out. Either that or it was born with a leg deformity. We're not sure. But we've been bottle feeding this baby, and Leaf is actually taking the baby to the rescue. So yesterday I had the baby on film and on camera with us, but he's so cute. But he needs more help than what we can give with his little leg. So
I love that. So I love that you guys saved him, and it's beautiful. So Carrie says, wow, that sounds interesting. Totally, it is interesting. Seriously, Herman, thank you. We are talking about right now, if you're just joining us, how to live a sustainable life and how to do it right from where you sit. Microgreens, what's kind of cool about this, Miranda, microgreens are something that you could do in your house. There's so many ways that you can produce your own food, use your own resources, and limit the amount of water that you're using. You can get those things that you put in the toilet too that actually have less water as well. Mm-hmm. I live in a big city. I mean, I would love for more people here in Huntington Beach to conserve more and to do more things. One of the things I absolutely do love is the fact that we do trash pickup here. There's so many cool things you can do. I'm curious, anybody out there, when you walk by a piece of trash that's laying on the ground, who picks it up? You put your grocery cart away too. So do I.
Yeah, these are the things. That's what being more conscious is about. So there are different levels that we talk about in teaching a lot of this. And becoming conscious is one thing, which people say, I'm conscious every day. Like, what do you mean become conscious? I wake up and I get conscious and I'm conscious, I think. But we're talking about being awake or being conscious and caring more about every little thing you learn about that you need to care more about. We're not just born that way. So when you learn or when you realize, or you wake up that one day and you say, maybe I should be recycling, or maybe I should be conserving water, or is it my job to pick up trash? It's all of our job to love the planet and to love ourselves enough to take these steps and to just keep moving on becoming more conscious of what you do every day. Become more awake, become more conscious, become more caring in every little aspect that you can, which actually becomes a really fun journey. And you feel better about yourself, and you take your family on this journey, or your loved ones, or anybody else, and help teach and help lead and help bring them with you. That's one level. We also talk about doing things sustainably, which is not doing harm, not, doing sustainable kind of building, sustainable kind of living, so that you're not making way more trash or you're not consuming way more water. That's being sustainable. But the reason that we're highlighting Regeneration Renaissance is because regenerative efforts are even one step further than that. They're creating abundance, creating a thriving network, giving a little bit more than you take. And if we all give a little bit more than we take, we all act of service in some ways, not huge ways. This is all if we were just to do a little bit more to give back. Or if communities build what we call regenerative systems, then they are producing more than what they actually consume. So not only are they not doing harm and just being over consumers and taking too much and making too much waste, but they're being sustainable and creating a regenerative network where they're creating more food for other people than they consume, setting up systems that create more energy that gives back into the energy system. If you have solar, are you putting on extra solar to give back to the grid so that all of us together can grow more of a system of renewable energy sources that aren't harming the planet, instead of just plugging in and using what the power companies using with producing coal? A lot of these things take all of us. The power companies switching over to solar themselves is a really, really big huge lift and huge deal. But if you put on extra solar and you give back to the grid and you're pumping extra solar, and a lot of people are doing that, which is happening right now, then we create regenerative systems to where we're giving back to the system and we're helping it thrive. We're not expecting somebody else to make it thrive for us. So that's what we talk about with regenerative systems.
And it's what's really cool is what you're talking about is huge abundance in every single area of our lives. And when we create more and we are of service and we're giving that, the law of reciprocity steps in as well. And, you know, just like you were just talking about with microgreens and with chickens and with growing, how that this person's making 100,000 a year off his farm, living sustainably. But what else are they doing? They are giving back to the community. They're creating more than they need and giving it away. That I think that message right there is just like huge. I love that. And who doesn't want to be abundant in every area of their life? I want to be abundant in every area of my life. Thank you very much. I am. You know, that's what we do. We create abundance but to share in community. That's a whole other level when we can be there for each other to help each other along. You know, one of the things about you, Miranda, that I love and I've been able to witness many, many times is you've got a mom with some kids who she's got like 2 or 3 babies and nowhere to go. And you just give her this place to be of peace and rest. To me, that is also part of the system, to be able to be there for one another when they're in need, when they have nowhere to go, and I know what that feels like, to not know, to be able to step into a community and learn these tools to take with her. She learned these things to take with her to utilize in her own home, in her own space. So that's another piece of this, is how that we work in community, and talk a little bit more about community and what that looks like, because what I've seen is everybody kicking in and doing their part within that small structure, but I've also seen it go bigger. What got you into the idea that community was the way to do this? I mean, we all know it is, but seriously, to actually do it.
Yeah. As I said, it got, researching, seeing everybody so unhealthy and being a nurse, and then researching is there something different that can give us holistic health and well-being, which thank God that I did that journey. I found so many things that I had no idea that I was going to find. And that's one of the things that our show is going to be about as well, is that that there's regenerative efforts on many levels. On a personal level, with our relationships, we can create thriving and abundance, as teams, as a community, and globally. And yeah, one of the biggest ways for people to learn about it is to be immersed in it. And yes, I was a single mom of 5 kids for a long time. And now one of my passions is having a property that does help house moms and kids that are having difficulty. We've also had some fathers and kids too, so I'm not, biased in that way. But people getting to step out of a space where most of these women are coming out of an abusive and toxic space, which is also where I was in my past too, which is why I ended up being a single mom. But being able to step out of that most of the time, in a place of total devastation and not having hope in the world and wanting the best for your kids, but having no idea how to reset. But they come and stay with me. And I love other mamas and grandmas that offer these kinds of things as well. And I find when you open up your door, as soon as I have someone moving out, the universe will just bring me the next person. I don't go searching. It just comes. As long as you say to the universe or say to spirit, I'm opening my door, I'm offering this, they'll line up the rest to happen. But yeah, these families get to come and live here, learn how to grow their own food, get to love on all the puppies and kitties and chickens and deer or whatever we happen to have at the time that is animal therapy, and get to be in a happy and healthy family and household where we love each other, love on each other, we're supportive of each other, we have meals together, we play music and laugh and just have a lot of love. And a lot of these families are coming from a place of not having that, but they really, really need it. And then they can repattern their next steps in life with empowerment and with that patterning of living a positive lifestyle and helping know that they can make a difference. I mean, some of the moms that I helped that got the stimulus during COVID were able to buy we redesigned sheds into tiny homes for moms and families for really cheap. A lot of these shed companies, anybody can look this up, but in any state, the shed companies have these deals where they have no credit check, no money down, no deposit, and free delivery on sheds that already have windows and stuff in them and turn into these cute tiny homes. You still have to put flooring and some insulation in and then put some furniture in there. But other than that, it's already like a little home. You can decide whether you want to put a kitchen and a bathroom, that kind of stuff in as well. But they're only $200 a month until you pay them off, which is about $4,000. So after a couple of years of only paying $200 a month, they're paid off. And then those companies, you just call them and they will move it anywhere for you for only $100 within 50 miles. So this is starting to give a lot of women and families a lot more flexibility. And those of us that are building community and have pieces of land and can say, yes, you can put your tiny home here, or for other places that we know of in town that allow people to put tiny homes there. So just move your tiny home, find your community that you're happy in, but know that you and your kids are safe and protected and get to be with a community of people growing food and get to receive love and, come to community meals and all of that. So it can be extremely transforming for families to come into this space, or anyone having a difficult life. We have a lot of people that are coming out of addiction or abusive relationships that literally need to reinvent their life and push a reset away from the community that they've been in that encouraged all the drug and alcohol use or all the abusive patterns that desperately need community in order to shift their patterns and heal and be in recovery.
I agree. And I think that's that's a really big, important part of recovery. Recovery, people going into that sector, and I've been in that sector, it's a lot of shaming that we come from. A lot of, there's other systems out there that teach you to be very shamed for the things that you've been through. And what I love about this is community coming forward where we're able to join together in acceptance and in joy and in love. And when there's also deeper parts of this that we can get in on a different show regarding recovery. I mean, I've seen the difference just in my son flourish in this environment, completely just expand into his own space, into his own being. You've been a huge factor in that. I mean, the things that we're talking about, and I bring this up because I really want everyone to understand that this isn't something that Miranda's just talking about. She lives it and does this. And I've seen the results of it. The cool part and the good news is that you all can do the same thing. And that's what it doesn't get, and that's why it's Cool Block, which I put the link into the chat, by the way. But I want to thank you for stepping forward, because what you've done really is being a pioneer in this field and bringing this to us and actually having the property that provides this kind of space. You're showing us all what is possible. Miranda, remember when the mile run couldn't be beat more than it was 1 point blah blah seconds, minutes, whatever it was. I don't know the exact thing, but you all get my point, okay? Even if I blunder this. We see that it's never been beat, hasn't been beat in 50 years. You can't beat that record. And somebody comes and beats the record. And then what happens? Somebody 6 months later is beating the record, because we've just been shown to change our perspective that it is possible. And that's what really this is about, is shifting your perspective. That's what the show is going to be about, is the shift of perspective. Like you were saying, it can be done differently. In what ways can it be done differently? And the cool part is that Miranda's going to bring you and we will be bringing you some great tips and tools that you could implement in your homes. So, I mean, anybody can do it anywhere. Anybody out there already doing this, or has this sparked some thought for you? I'm curious.
Yeah, please put in the comments area anything you want us to talk about or address. And as we said, this is the beginning of a much longer process. We're creating a course and a directory about how people can find a lot of regenerative tools, thought leaders, presentations, videos, all of that in the future. UNIFY combined with Spirituality Gone Wild, and a lot of people in our group. I mean, Fernanda and Holochain and Metacurrency and Commons Engine, and I can keep going, but there's a lot of us. And one of the reasons we're having it on Women Rising is because I see the women in this network being the super connectors, like the mamas and the grandmas that want to make sure everybody has these tools and knows that there is a renaissance of change going on. And it really is. I mean, Debbie and I ourselves, we've been through huge amounts of personal transformation in the last 5, 10, 15 years as we learn more and more about how personal regeneration. I mean, there are things out there like things that do cellular regeneration or neurological regeneration, brain growth. So people are using things like CBD, cannabis, psilocybin, all kinds of different things that are naturally grown by the earth to help us heal. And a lot of those have regenerative properties. But a lot of healing is not just going towards preventative medicine or treating a symptom of something, but actually going towards how do I get younger, feel younger, reverse aging, reverse disease processes because I was eating the wrong foods or, taking alcohol and drugs. How do I actually see this happen? And we're living examples of that happening. I mean, Debbie has had some very significant health problems in her past. And if you look at pictures of her, you would not even recognize the same person. And I swear to God, even in the last 2-3 years of knowing you, I don't even know how long it's been. I think like almost 3 years, probably. It's 2.5 at least.
It's getting there. Yeah.
You're getting younger for sure. Like both of us feel younger and more energy, and are finding, if we find things in our life that need to change, a lot of people are learning about being gluten intolerant or having candida infections that maybe they've had their entire life because they have adrenal insufficiency, and that's making them crave caffeine and sugar, and sugary stuff all the time. The actual candida is speaking for you and saying, eat that donut, eat the sugar, eat all of that. But curing the candida because your body never had the ability to fight it off is something people didn't know to do. But now that we're learning all these things, one on top of another, about how to actually get younger, feel younger, a lot of it's attitude too.
Oh, it's always attitude. Your attitude is everything. The attitude of gratitude is what makes me young. That's
Debbie G.
Debbie Gratitude. And I want to appreciate Carrie Harbin, who says, I'm appreciating hearing the success stories. And all of
Joe said you're getting younger because of him. Her husband just posted on here. So cute.
You are hilarious. I love that. And I love this too. Carrie says she's personally been homesteading with my husband and raising our son, hens, growing fruit trees, berries, asparagus, and exploring other medicinal herbs. We faced the loss of all of our elders and parents and endured so much grief. And it has been, and by now means and then sustainably, or I love this. Look at this. She's inspired. I'm telling you, girl, microgreens, man.
Yeah, Carrie, we, it's the same. I mean, my journey has not been easy, not in any way. I mean, trying to be a single mom and raise the money to buy a property and be out here on solar and everything. It's like every month living paycheck to paycheck, just paying for us to increase solar and get the property and all of that stuff, which is why we're studying a lot more now about, you know, what can be regenerative efforts, and microgreens has come up as one of those new things. It said the growth rate is expected to be at 7 to 8% over the next 10 years with how fast that market is growing. So many people are wanting to put microgreens on their salads, in smoothies, tons in smoothies, and people that are doing juicing. So there's way more demand than there is supply right now. And almost any store or shipping group or whatever will tell you that as I'm doing more researching. So yeah, we're wanting to share through this regenerative Regeneration Renaissance different tips and tools that we've learned on how to make more money running your farm, running your homestead, how to raise chickens and make money doing it, how to raise goats and make cheeses and milk products that can go out to the network, and how to do it without breaking the bank to do it. Greenhouses too. Our greenhouse last year, we covered our greenhouse in saran wrap, believe it or not, because I saw that on TikTok, and we didn't have the money to buy the $500 roll of hard plastic that has to go over it and be pinned down with all this expensive stuff. So they said, go and get industrial saran wrap. That's the green style that blocks out one type of light, and cover it with that. The plants were super happy, and it kept the hail off of them. And it was such a great solution for us only having the money for the frame last summer, but needing a cheap solution for the outside covering. And now we've been able to replace it with the outside covering. So there's all these different ways. I'm so glad that TikTok and Instagram and Facebook have entire homestead channels on how to do it cheap, and then how people are making money. So please go check that out. My partner and I watch nerdy TikToks before we go to bed, just to learn the hottest things that are out there from homesteaders that are saying, save money, do things in amazing ways. These ways, we figured it out. It's a total innovation space where people are sharing how to do this more efficiently. So yeah, thank you, Carrie, for what you're doing.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you so much. And Joe, thank you, honey, for making me younger. I love that. That's great. Let's bring this up here. Carrie says, that's awesome that what you've done, Miranda. Add Eddie is
we'll look in the field. Anna Eddy. Okay. Yeah, we're looking for references on microgreens is a new piece for us in this, but we'll look that up. Thank you for giving that reference. But the course and the directory, along with a lot of presentations and articles and everything in the future, is going to be meant to help people find how to do how to find regenerative efforts for making yourself younger and feel more energy and be more healthy, and how to eat in good ways and know about supplements and all of that world of stuff. And then the second world is about relationships and how we create thriving and abundant relationships. How do we give more than we take? How do we make sure that we're waking up every day and giving to our partners in a positive way, with gratitude, with appreciation, which goes a long ways in creating amazing relationships, that it becomes the art of living and the art of relationships in a lot of ways. And learning how to have transparent and direct, but nonviolent and loving communication that's needed, and how to schedule that in, and how to just all the ways to create thriving and abundant relationships that we weren't raised with. This is like,
no.
Debbie and I can tell you how hard it is to unpattern when you're trying to do these things, when you get triggered and you go into a defensive response, or your victim response, or your whiny, oh, is me response, and you're putting that on the people in your life. And because that's what was natural. That's what our parents did. That's what we did to our parents. That's how we communicated. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can all repattern, and we can be in much more loving spaces. And there's a lot of tools for that. A lot of workshops people can go to, a lot of ways we can work together, even as teams that are developing new forms of decision-making and governance and ways that we are transparent and have voting systems and consensus, or whatever your flavor is that you like. There's a lot that Fernanda and Sherry have to share about those tools, especially holacracy and governance and all of that. But yeah, Carrie, we're evolving. That's the whole thing about the Regeneration Renaissance, is that we are evolving more quickly. And with UNIFY, we have a huge network and bring people in for global synchronized meditations, but we bring in spiritual leaders without giving them any prompt. They all just start contacting us at the same time. Like on 2/22, we did one for Love and Harmony Day, and 200 presenters, 200 spiritual leaders, and just leaders around the planet came in. And that we just start getting a flood of people saying, I need to present 2/22 as a special day. I'm getting all these messages. I need to give them to the public. We need to do a meditation. And that's how UNIFY works. It basically runs us as things need to happen, and as we have this collective voice that needs to happen. But without any prep ahead of time, these leaders come in and talk about peace or unity or what's happening on the planet. And one blessing of that is that we get to see things from a very faithful and beautiful space, because we see how much things are awakening and growing on the planet in such beautiful ways. So many groups flooding in all the time saying, I need to tell a story of what we're doing with land projects or with health and wellness that's curing cancer and turning back the clock, or whatever it is. It's just a aggregating place of the story that's going on. And the story is that there are millions of people awake on the planet right now that are working for change, that they've already figured out how to not be a part of the old systems, or how to have their own microcosm of change that is really amazing, even if they're in a city or in the corporate world still, or wherever they are in life. People are waking up, they are evolving, and we're finding each other. And there's a whole tribe of people growing that is all in for all life, and none of us are going to stop. And creating heaven on earth, creating the golden age, whatever you want to call it.
I love that. Yeah, what I'm thinking, Miranda, because I love how that you are correct. It is, so you're a magnet. And if we're a magnet, it's coming to us. It's coming to us. We're not out there seeking it. One of the ways that, because you were talking about communication, relationships, and our relationships are with everything. So what if our relationship is teaching us to actively listen? One of the things that always worked for me, I could be a big victim, big, huge, big. I can still do it sometimes, but I pull out real. Man, it's a whopper. So one of the things I know is when you show up and you're of service, it pulls you out of yourself, because you're doing something for someone else. And that is so important. It's so, so important for us to get outside of ourselves when we're sitting there feeling sorry for ourselves. When you're like, yeah, but this happened to me. Yeah, I got you. It's happened to all of us. But what if you did something different and you decided that you would do something for someone else, period. Even a simple phone call of saying, I love you, or I'm grateful for you, or, I was thinking about you. Do you need anything? Is there anything I can do for you? With no agenda, no anything, just showing up in the world. The biggest thing that ever broke the victim for me was being of service. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else. I mean, that's it. It's like the minute that I get out of my own head and I'm there for somebody else, it shifts the dynamic of the situation that's happening in my own life to showing up. So and it's just such a beautiful thing. Thank you, women rule the year. Thank you, Isabel. yeah. We make people. We make people.
We grow people.
We grow people.
We do. I love
not all by ourselves though. We need.
I had a beautiful man here that used to come and sit with me. He just passed on a few months ago and was like 82 years old. But his name is Dr. William, and everybody in our town knew him because he was actually blind for the last 10 years, but he would still walk outside his house and hitchhike to town. And so all of us kind of knew him and have given him rides and stuff. But he was here at my house at one point, and he's blind. He can't even see anything, but he just sits in front of the solarium windows that look out towards the greenhouse and takes in the sunlight and stuff while we're talking. And I was telling him about growing food and why we grow food and this kind of stuff. And he's like, you grow everything. Your house is like oozing growth and life. You grow kids, you grow people, you grow food. It was just such a honor for him to say that. And he's blind, so he's like taking in everything just from the sounds and the energy. He can't even see the garden or anything. He can just feel what's happening. So it was so sweet to have him say that. And it made me realize that too. Like Debbie and I work a lot in we grow gardens, but we spend the majority of our time online helping to inspire people, helping people with recovery and transformation. And some days it's like, what are we doing? Why do we do what we do? But we are helping grow people and grow humanity and grow humanity's story. And every part of us wants to be a part of that story, emerging with the greatest hope and inspiration and love that there is, because it is
that's right,
and it is beautiful.
Right. it absolutely is. And you guys also can always catch us on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. for UNIFY Women Rising, 9 a.m. Pacific time, to be clear on that. And there's so much more to understand and learn, and bringing tools. That's one of the fun things I love. And one of the biggest tools I could share with you today is what I already did. Get out and be of service to somebody. Pick up the trash that you see walking by. Do the little things. Do the minute little things. Change out your shower head. Conserve more water. I personally am like all about Miranda's house. I asked her, I'm like, how do you catch the rainwater? Because her house is designed to catch the rainwater. And I'm like, that's pretty rad. We're going to need to do something like that. That's pretty awesome. Think about these little baby things and do it. If you don't know how to do it, reach out to somebody who can share with you on how to make a difference in the world today, in your own world, because you might be the 100th monkey.
Yeah. And I will tell you, we don't have tons of people showing up here teaching us how to do this. It is literally on an iPad on YouTube watching do-it-yourself videos. We planted our greenhouse and our food forest using Jeff Lawton's techniques, Patrick Padden's techniques, and literally, out there in the field with the iPad, and they're saying, dig a 4-foot hole, put wood and dirt and compost in it, cover that with dirt, put some more layers of stuff, and then water it all in. We literally, that's how we did it, and it's working. And anyone can do that. Anyone can. And I would say, on top of what you said, for community efforts, beyond what you can do individually by conserving water and starting to grow food and recycling, if your community, there's usually community organizers that are out there in your community already doing stuff, running trash cleanups, river cleanups, planting trees. Join them. All you have to do is say yes. Go to the days they have organized. You can be a community organizer as well. We have lots of tools for that if you want to be the person getting out there. But I guarantee you there's probably already people that need people that are trying to do stuff, and they're trying to bring tools, and they're trying to help your community have more recycling or more trees, more green spaces, more food growing, more care for the elders, all these things that we need to look at. And go join them. Get in the exploration. You will make good friends. These are good people, some of the most beautiful people in the community. And then throw your ideas in there too. And there's lots of tips and tools on how to do governance and decision making and whole systems transformation. But a lot of those are big to tackle. But first steps, go out and just be with other people and let them know you're there, you're awake, you're doing the things, you're going to keep showing up. If they want to plant trees, if you all want to do this together, be together and do it. And we will be, one segment of our show will be about community regenerative development and looking at the whole system's wheel of transformation and how communities can use different tools. And Fernanda and Sherry will be talking a lot about actually community currencies and how we have technologies that can track value contributions and volunteer management and all kinds of that stuff too, so that we can empower communities to the umpteenth level of anything they would need. It's out there already. There's a lot of people working on this kind of stuff, but just helping you to find it easier. And at a global level, you know, the whole world is transforming. The UN put forward sustainable development goals in 2015, but there's also not just sustainable, but a look at regenerative whole system transformation. What does it look like for your household? What does it look like for your block, your neighborhood, your community, your city, your state, your nation? And then what are we doing globally to help transform our world into what doesn't do harm and what takes care of everyone? And those worlds, every single one of them exists and is thriving and is working towards this, I guarantee you. And just jump in the efforts. It's the other side of, you know, fear, anxiety, depression. We're full of life and full of change and growth and happiness, and go be of service. Like Debbie was saying, it will shift your whole view on what you have going on in your life, potentially. If you're feeling like your life is hard, go feed some homeless people for an entire day. Go serve some kids that don't have families and or are suffering from cancer. Or there's a lot of things that can help shift your perspective on life. Might not be that bad. Maybe it's just get out there and do a little more to make it better with some imagination. Dream up your life and your new vision for what it can be.
Yep. And abundance is in every arena. When you show up with no agenda, when you show up just to do this because you're doing it from your heart-centered, conscious space, abundance flows. And just remember to watch for the abundance coming in your life. And this is a challenge for you. As you go about the rest of your day today, your evening, or whatever time you're watching this, pick out, even write down all of the things of abundance that you are experiencing. Okay, all things of abundance, not just green stuff, money. Well, the green stuff could be your microgreens if you've been listening to this whole presentation, and you could be like killing it right now. Do it. Go out there but remember, the reason it works is because it's the law of reciprocity. It's the law of reciprocity here. Give and receive, give and receive. It's the ebb and flow of life. And this is really the message to you today, is that you're part of that ebb and flow, and your decision making and the things that you're wanting to do can improve not just your environment, but those around you and the community that you live in. So plant sunflower seeds. That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, it's everything big and little and all of the things and everything that you do. Not every moment of every day, but more moments of every day than you did before.
Going to spend it in a lot more gratitude. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it's way worth it. I mean, what another way to look at what things are abundant in your life is counting your blessings. You might have heard that from your mom since you were a little kid. You know, go sit and count your blessings instead of being in a bad mood or something. But it really is like, start with being glad for the air that you breathe and the water that you drink and the house that you live in, and just keep going. And you'll realize there's way more blessings than there are negative things a lot of times. Not that negative things don't happen. Sometimes lives do need entire transformations, and people do need rescuing, and health does need, you know, to be looked at, and addictions need to be given up and healthier choices made, and all of those things. We've been through these journeys and are continuing to. It never stops. Every day we have to look at, how can I become more awake? How can I become more happy, healthy, joyful, more energy? How do I do better in my relationships? How do I do better to the planet? How do I do better in my community? but only to the extent that you're not overworking yourself. I see some people think that they owe something in order to have redemption or be a good human or something, but we just all owe a little more than what we're given, and we create an amazing world that way. And it doesn't have to be stressful, and it's not something that you have to earn for your worthiness, your love. We're all here to love each other, and we need to create a world that's like that, a lot more for everybody.
I agree. And self-care. Self-care.
Mhm.
Self first is not selfish. And if anybody's interested, they could always reach out to Women Rising. We have courses on self-care and self-love and things that you can get, just to get tips and tools and things like that. So watch for that, and watch for us at UNIFY, right here on UNIFY and Spirituality Gone Wild for UNIFY Women Rising. Does anyone have any questions before we head out? Just thought I'd ask, because you never know. My face is not as numb. It's still numb. It's not as numb.
You can't really tell that much. But
I'm really glad.
I think it's great when you're just making funny faces, though. Debbie and I do together every day really is just crack each other up.
We're going to save the planet. Literally. After my face will not be numb soon.
Well, even, Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, I love that movie because it's like you look around and they're like, this is who has to save the galaxy. And you look around and one of us is a raccoon and one is a tree. And you're like, okay, we're going with it.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'll tell you what. I was cracking up going, well, because I just had feelings and I had these things. I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm going. I'm in. But don't let anything ever stop you from showing up. Even your mouth being numb. Just do it. Miranda did all the talking. I'm good. Just sit back. We love you guys.
It's usually the opposite. Usually it's the talk.
Nothing really. I started telling Joe, my husband, I'm like, nothing really ever stops me from talking. My mouth makes me money. What do you want? It's like the thing. I get paid to be me, and I love that. Anybody else love that? You think about how you can do things because you rock. That's all I'm saying. All right. I love you tremendously. It's been fun hanging out with you for the last hour. I hope the audience and the ones that are listening to the replay have taken away some really good hints and tools today. You can do microgreens in your garage, just saying. Like you can you're going to need lights and do it hydroponically, but don't think that there's not a space for you to grow your own food. They even have these now. They have these you can even make them from Home Depot cheaply. Food towers, you grow hydroponic food towers. I mean, it's amazing. So there's always where there's a will, there's a way. And remember that. And catch us on UNIFY Women Rising to learn more, please. And watch the rest of World Unity Week. We've got lots of cool stuff.
Yep. We love you all.
Love you. Bye.